In this video, we're showing you the best shooting guard build for Season 3 in NBA 2K23. This is really going to be used for Rec or Pro-Am, not really utilized for Park as much. We're going to start this, of course, with the shooting guard position. We're going to go 6'3". I'm going to go 170 pounds. And we will go with a 6'9" wingspan. And then the body shape, I'm going to go with built for this one. Or I would suggest going with a smaller one like compact or solid. I'm going to use built. So we'll start with finishing. Driving dunk, you're going to put to an 80. Your driving layup is going to be a 75. And your close shot is going to be a 67. So with this, we're going to be able to get all of the finishing badges that we want because we need 16 to be able to get to the limitless takeoff. So this build is really just going to be used with the quick drop animation. So make sure that you understand that when you make it and utilize the quick drops and equip those. So I would suggest limitless takeoff with the slithery, things like that. But with the 16 finishing, you're not going to be able to like contact dunk a bunch of people. So mainly the point of this build, as you see as we go along, you're going to be able to play really good defense. When you get dunks, you'll be able to take them, and then you'll be able to shoot the ball. You'll pretty much be able to do everything a little bit. But finishing is where I had to sacrifice a little bit. But you still do get good dunk animations with this. So check out the best finishing badge setup. For your finishing badges, we're going to go gold Giant Slayer. I'm going to go bronze Fast Twitch, bronze Fearless Finisher. And now for this last point, you can kind of put it wherever you want. There's no great one. I'm just going to put it on Masher. Your limitless takeoff, you're going to get that and core it. And then you'll be able to get Slithery Finisher. And then again, now you're back to having another one left over. And so now this is just up to you when it comes to these tier ones. I'm just going to put on Aerial Wizard just in case someone wants to throw me a lob. Maybe it might help me catch it. But like I said, when it came to this finishing, limitless takeoff and the quick drops is what this build is created around. So if you don't run quick drops and you try to run other stuff, you're just not going to be able to finish the ball very well. So definitely run the quick drops. Slithery, help you get to the rim. Fearless, if you get taken out of dunk animations, you might be able to make a layup. And then these ones are just kind of filler badges because there's not many other ways to utilize the badges at a 6'3" point guard. So that's the best finishing badge setup. For your shooting, we're going to go 92 3-pointer. You're going to go an 80 in your mid-range, and you're going to go 71 free throw. So with this one, we do get quite a bit of badges at 25. You're going to get all the core ones that you need. You're not going to be able to get all 4 of these, but the 3 that you need, Agent 3, Blinders, Limitless, you'll be able to get. These other badges are going to be able to be used based on how you play the game. But with this shooting guard build, 6'3", decent height. I didn't want to go any taller because there's certain things that I wanted to try to hit with this when it comes to the physicals and the dribbling. So what this build is really going to be a kind of like a more taller, like defensive point guard in a way. You're not going to be super tall on the wing to guard a bunch of stuff, but you will be able to play defense. But like I said about the shooting badges, you are going to get all the best ones that you can get. Check out the best shooting badge setup. For your shooting badges, I'm going to go gold catch and shoot. I'm going to go silver amped. You could even go probably bronze if you wanted to. I'm going to go bronze volume. It's going to unlock our tier 3. So we're going to add Agent 3 blinders and limitless range. They have one left over where you could go guard up, you could go silver volume, kind of whichever way you want to do this. But this build does get insanely good shooting badges, just like pretty much every one of my card builds that I feel like I make. It's like the same kind of setup because it's just the meta kind of thing, and it's the way to do it in my opinion. But you know, there's some badges on here like amped and volume shooter. Some people might like them, might not like them. Maybe you move amp down, you add in clutch shooter, which I think is a good badge. But overall, I don't think you'd be missing a ton of shots with this build once you get your jumper down and all that type of stuff. So I think that's the best shooting badge setup. For your playmaking badges, we're gonna go an 89 in ball handling. We're gonna go 75 in pass accuracy and a 76 in speed with ball. So we only get to 20. And then later we'll talk about the +4s and how those work. But with 20, you're really not going to be dribbling the ball a ton as a shooting guard, especially in Rec and Pro-Am. You're going to get the ball in areas. So that's why the handles for days, I only think silver is really necessary to get. We still will be able to get to a good amount of these badges in order to stay effective, like Hall of Fame Quick First Step, Unpluckable, Hyperdrive, all the badges that are core and kind of needed. But this build isn't really going to be utilized to just sit there and kind of like spam dribble and do all those types of things. You also only have a 75 pass accuracy. It's good enough to make plays, but it's not going to be like a point guard where, you know, maybe you have like mid to high 80s. but you definitely can get the job done when it comes to playmaking. So this one really kind of might fall more into the category of like a two-way sharp, where you play really good defense, you shoot well, but I do feel like with this, if you know where you want to get with your moves, the playmaking is definitely enough to be effective with the finishing and other aspects of the offense of this build. So check out the best playmaking badge setup. Now for playmaking, and like I said earlier, this build isn't going to get a ton of great playmaking badges because in my opinion, like your role isn't really to be that. But if it is that, maybe you kind of alter this build around to fit your play style. But we're going to be able to get gold unpluckable, Hall of Fame quick first step, gold hyperdrive, your silver handles for days, bailout, and needle threader. So you have everything just like the point guard is going to have. You're just not going to be able to dribble as long. That's what the handles for days is really going to kind of hinder you with not having it gold. But like I said, if you know where you're getting to your spots, if your role is to really stand there at the hash, you get it late and your job is to attack the rim or just to score, I do think that this build is definitely usable in those situations. But if you're more of your point guard relies on you to dribble a lot and like for you to score off the dribble, maybe you could tweak the build to get little handles for days, in my opinion. But I do think this is a good playmaking badge setup. Now for defense, so this is where the build, I think it's pretty fun to me. So we're going to perimeter defense to an 87. We're going to go steal to a 95. And we're not going to touch anything else when it comes to this. So your perimeter defense, if you see the threshold, it's really for badges. Hall of Fame menace, you could equip it. It doesn't really matter. The steal gets us to the gold glove, which is really good. Gold glove, it's not, of course, not as strong as Hall of Fame, but gold glove is definitely the tier that you want to get to if you're going to want to be able to rip the ball. So I have made on my previous shooting guard build, I think the season 2 one, it did have a 99 steal. But it really couldn't do much else, and the physicals were average on it, in my opinion. So this season, and throughout me watching Pro-Am and just playing on the build myself, I wanted to adjust it to where the build was actually a little bit more usable on offense, because I feel like defense is not easy, but you can play good defense with this build. You have every badge like we talked about, like gold interceptor, glove, clamps, pick dodger. So you are pretty much like a secondary slash, you probably could play a primary lock with this. 6'3" is a little short, but you could definitely get away with playing good defense in those moments. So you'll see with the physicals and things, but this again is kind of going to be not an in-between, but in my opinion, an upgrade, even though you're losing the Hall of Fame glove from my last build when it comes to just having a better play style, in my opinion, to actually playing like the role that you have. So check out the best defensive badge setup. Now for defense, we're going to go gold menace. We're going to gold pick dodger. So we're going to lock the tier 3. And this just goes all to what you feel like is good. Now, gold glove is really good, so I want to add that. I do like gold interceptor. And so now this is where you could add your +4, in my opinion, because you're going to be on the wing. So I'd add all +4 to your defense. It's going to give you 9. You're going to be able to put 6 here, and then you're going to have 3 left over, and I'll put those to gold off-ball pest. And the reason that is you're going to be guarding like dexes and like off-ball movements a lot with sharps and point guards that get off ball on you, and I just think off ball pest could really be utilized to help that. But if you feel like that you don't need pests at all, of course you only need 1 to add here to get your silver clamps or whichever you feel is, you know, the most needed for you. Now for your physicals, this is what I was speaking on earlier. So we're gonna go a 90 acceleration, we're gonna go up to an 80 speed, we're gonna leave vertical at 60, and we're gonna go to a 94 stamina. So with these physicals here, like I said earlier, it's just, I felt like my old shooting guard build was too slow. And so getting to the 90 acceleration, you're actually gonna be able to move quicker on offense to actually score the ball or get to the rim. I do feel like, you know, limiting the steal down to add in, you know, physicals and playmaking and this and all that, I do think it's worth it, in my opinion. Glove is, of course, a really strong badge, but there are some games I feel like I can't get any steals, and other games I feel like I can get 10 steals a game. So it really just, I feel like it's a pick and choose type of badge, whereas with the 90 acceleration versus 82, that range, you're really going to be able to feel it on offense whenever you start to get moving and figure out how to kind of dribble with this setup here. So with that, we'll look at the takeovers. So here's all the takeovers it gets, pretty much identical to the point guard one that I just created. So you have your shot creator, shooting, playmaking, and defense. So again, it really just depends on your play style. With you being on the hash, maybe you go limitless range first, maybe you do extreme clamp second. You could do a mixture of whatever you feel like is the best for what your role is for your team. So with that, we'll get into the shades of and the name of the build. So we are looking at these 3 players here, and the build is called Two-Way Shot Creator. That'll be it for this video. If you're interested, I have a link in the description below to my Discord. We'll go over things like the NBA 2K League, tips and tricks for 2K23, or if you want to play the game with myself, like I said, the Discord link is in the description below. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.